Okay, welcome to Truck Series, or truck.prodemand.com is the website where you find it. We are going to take a quick introduction into some of the buttons in the system. So if it's your first time in here, this will help you to kind of see how the system works. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up here into this area here where obviously you can see you can log out. Next we're going to take a look at settings. This is something you may find useful. There's a calculator in here. Next thing we're going to do is contact. This will give you the phone number to Mitchell, and what you want to deal with is the product content support. That could help you out there if you're looking for some kind of information about repair information that you think should be in the books. Next is this question mark, and it will use these tours, and it kind of walks you through how to use it, and then there's some other videos in here as well. Next is when you come down here where your name is, it'll say your shop name here, and you go to shop settings. This is where you're going to want to set up your labor rate. You can change the name of it, set up your taxes, your currency. This adjustment right here, when you enter in parts, if you put in say 30%, then when you type a part price into the estimate guide, it'll take whatever you type in and mark it up 30%. If you leave it at 0, then obviously it's not going to change anything. It'll just leave it at the price you put on there. It's not tracking that in any profitability anywhere. If that's important to you, then you're going to want to upgrade to the CVG version. That will keep track of that. Right here you have shop supplies, so you can choose a standard dollar amount per order or a percentage of the order. Then you can choose if you want to put tax on it. Your hazardous materials, same exact thing. And then if your miles or kilometer. Under header and footer, this is where you can put your information that you want to have show up on top of the invoice. Or I should say the estimate, because this isn't tracking invoices, just estimates. So in the header you can put your name, you can put your address, your shop information. Of course you have a footer as well. And then display and print, so this is where you can choose what do you want to show up on there. And then on multiple pages, do you want the header and footer on all the pages or just on the first one? And then vehicle VMRS codes, do you want those to display on the quotes or not? And then if you have any disclosure statement, like this estimate is only good for 30 days, something along those lines you could type in there. Now the other thing you should be aware of is when you want to select a vehicle, there's two things in here that can mess you up. One is you've got these two boxes here, right? So when you go to select a vehicle, you just click here, and then you've got these three things. Now the reason I say it can mess you up is you'll forget that this is where you go. Anytime you're working on one truck and you want to switch, just come up here and click this button here. After you've done that, you'll see there's three choices. Vehicle history is if you've already been looking in the system for other trucks, then you can see you can go down the line here and find the other trucks from the other day you worked on. Great for when you go to lunch and you come back and you want to see it, or if you took off, it's Friday, now you're back on Monday, you can go back to the other day, and if you click on it, you can see it'll take you right back to where you were when you were working on it last. VIN or plate, exactly that. You type in the VIN number, hit lookup, or you can type in the license plate and pick the state and hit lookup. And then the more traditional vehicle selection, year, make, model, engine. So we'll go ahead and choose one now. Now on this screen here, it's asking me for anti-lock braking systems, but because this over here is blue, not grayed out, I can actually just bypass it, and if it becomes a problem down the road where the book is requiring that answer, then the system will prompt you. So if you're just doing something that doesn't require it, you hit use this vehicle. Now you can see here it brought us to this One Search Plus tab. So a second ago when I had this change vehicle open, it was requiring me to, it was already having this set up, and then it's choosing One Search Plus automatically. So that basically allows you just to get through the system, and then from here you can choose where you want to go after you've already selected your vehicle. Now on this screen here on the One Search Plus, what you can see is there's this initial search option, which you can see you can type in a component or a symptom, and depending upon the vehicle you'll get more information down here. As you can see, these are grayed out. On your medium duty trucks you probably would see more information on these tabs, but as the months and years go on, Mitchell is filling these in a lot more, and each different vehicle you look at, these could highlight more, so don't just assume they'll be always blocked out. You can also enter your trouble code here, So this will be a more standard way if what you're used to. Just pick your controller, your SPN, and then your FMI, hit search, and it's bringing us up these options. It's best bet to stay in this upper area if it's going on instead of additional results. Additional results will take you to the books, which we can look at later. But for now, you're going to click here. Now, once you've selected the code, it brings up these boxes or these rectangles, and on these rectangles you can see the specifications related to this code, testing procedures related to the code, component related to the code, and you can read so on and so forth. And depending upon the code in the vehicle, you'll see more or less of these rectangles. Now let's go through some of these. So I just went to the specifications, and then I had to come down here to this section where it says after treatment system to get more of the information I was looking for. And as you can see here, DBF tank reference table, another table, then here's your other specifications, brake pressure. So this is where you want to go if you're looking for specifications. You can see testing procedures. It's giving us something short here. But whenever you see these are like a darker gray and you can mouse over them, then you can click on them and see if there's some other information underneath each one that might be the answer to what you're looking for. Component connector. So this is showing you color photos and with the pinouts already labeled for you. As you scroll down, you'll see other ones here. So you're able to go through each of these as you want to, and like I said, you'll see which ones are in there. But that's really the one search, what's supposed to be, or what it is about it that makes it nice. So you can go through these rectangles as you want to, but that's the piece about one search, is that you can type in your code and it brings everything to you instead of having to go through the manuals. Alright, now we're going to take a look at how the wiring diagrams work. And so since we already have a code and it's bringing us up wiring diagrams, we're just going to choose this rectangle here. And then I'm going to scroll down, and this is one diagram. It's very easy. We're going to keep on. We're going to go to something more difficult. So this diagram obviously has a lot more wires coming in and out of it, and so we'll take a look at this one. Now I'm going to zoom in here, and as you can see, I can mouse over different wires and I can then choose to highlight those wires. And if I want to gray everything else out, I hit this eyeball, and you can see the wires are still there, they're just faded. So when you go to print it, it'll make it even more obvious when you go to print it. Now you see here I selected these Now if you see here, I selected this dosing unit itself and it highlighted all these wires. So I'm going to bring it on and off. And so that's allowing you to choose one component and have it trace all the wires for you. And if the wire went across the page, it would also move it across the page. And then you can just hit the blue arrow over here to go to the next diagram. In this example, there's one of two. Now what's nice is as I'm moving around with my mouse, I can see it this came to the after treatment module. So if I select it, from within the wiring diagram, I can then get back to the same content that was in those rectangles you saw a minute ago, and I don't actually have to leave the wiring diagram. So let's take a look at this connector. So you've already recognized this connector in view from a minute ago, but if this went to something that you weren't familiar with, then here's your pinouts. Again, you do not need to leave the wiring diagram for this. Alright, let's take a look at the service manual. So if you just choose here, you can go to service manual, or you can hit this drop down and choose it here. Either one will get you to the same spot. Now in the service manual, if you weren't quite sure what truck an engine was in and you just wanted to get to an engine, then you would choose any vehicle, and then you come here where it says DTC index, engine service and fault code index, and this will allow you to go through these engines here, and we'll just select this one. And now you can see the options you have to go through those information here of the service manuals, as you can read what they are. And that would happen with all of them. So anytime you're working on something you're not quite sure what it would go in, or if it was not something like a yard goat, for example, This would be a great place to do that. You can also see the wiring diagram systems. And then without getting into all of these, you can see they're all going to work the same. What's nice about our system here with Mitchell1 is that you've got accessories and equipment. If you go in here, you can see APUs, anti-theft, horn, windows, some stuff that you don't usually see in repair information. It's transmissions, suspension, steering, things like that. Now to use it, anytime you see a plus, you just click on it, and that means there's more inside there. Now we're out of pluses, so we're going to choose this one. And then again, I have some more pluses, so I'm going to read through and say torque specs, for example. There's no pluses, so when I click it, it's just going to give me the torque specs. If I want to see removal and install, I hit this plus, and then I'm going to go down the line looking for what I'm removing and installing. So there's air compressor removal procedure. Here it is. Inspection, and then installation. And that's how all of them work. You just select it and then read what you're looking for. I encourage you to become familiar with where you'll find these things by just clicking around in here. But if you want, you can use this keyword search. The keyword search is going to allow you to type in information up here, and then what it'll do from here is you'll see a component option that you can narrow it down by, or an article type, as you can see here, after repair test, align, always off. That's how many articles are based on whatever you do a search for up here. Alright, let's take a look now at the trouble code option. Now this is actually the same thing you just saw on the first page. It's just broken down a little bit different. This is the older version that we had available. So once I type in the code, you can see what the code is here. You can hit the descriptions, which it gives you information about the code. Then it automatically pulls all the wiring diagrams together for you, all the connector end views, your locator, as you can see here, the testing procedures, remove and install procedures, and then your specs. So this is a very powerful and a huge time saver. If you type your code in there and then you don't have to go looking through the books and manuals trying to find the information, it's all going to be brought right to your screen so that you can go ahead and use it, print it, whatever it is you're going to have when working on that truck. Alright, now we're back on the OneSearch Plus screen, and we're going to take a look at what it would be like to build an estimate for this Freightliner. So we're going to come over here, we're going to choose this, we're going to choose Estimate Guide, and then you come over here and you choose the section you're looking for. And inside of the category, now I can look through and see, well, I'm looking, we'll say engine cooling fan. And then I'm going to be able to take a look at the engine, and then I can see what type of time frame we're looking at here. I can go back. I can add something else. And up here, it's building my labor, my parts, and my subtotal. So once I went through and I entered in all the labor, I then hit View Quote. And I can type in the customer information here. Type in the address, type in phone number, all that stuff. And once you do that, then you can save the quote here. And now I can find it later on my Save Quotes tab. So Mitchell1 Repair. Now, we're not finished, because you can actually come down here where it says Add Item. And you can add labor on your own, parts, sublet, and notes. So if I was adding a part, it would look like this. Now in price, like I mentioned earlier in the settings, if I had put a margin number in here, it would take this 250 and multiply it times that margin, and then it would put that number. But since I didn't, it's going to stay at 250. And then you just continue adding more parts or notes, however you want to. You can also apply a discount, labor or parts. So if I choose a parts discount, you can see it's asking me, do I want to do $50 or 50%? We'll stay dollars. And then when I scroll down here, I can see my labor, my parts, shop supplies, hazmat if I had added them, my parts discount totaling $425. And again, I can save that quote, or I can print it and it looks like this. So this is what it would look like when you printed it. As you can see, you get signature, your disclaimers, anything in the header would all be here, and you can have the customer sign that if you want to start working on the vehicle. Now to find these quotes, you could also hit this drop down and go to quotes, but it would then bring you to this tab here. And you can go back and find all the quotes you've worked on. Alright, so a second ago we looked at how to just go straight to looking up a labor item, but now let's say up here we typed in a component, and we'll just take fuel injector here. And if you type it in here and hit enter, you'll see you get your choices here. So we're going to go fuel injector again. And now we have these rectangles. So in these rectangles, I can just come straight down to labor, choose my category, and then I can take a look here and see fuel injector, harness, line, and work my way all the way down until I find it. And then I can see how much it is going to be without actually having to type in fuel injector and look around through the manuals or anything else. So if you already have the part you're looking for, then the OneSearch Plus is going to make it a lot easier to build your quotes. Next, we're going to take a look at what it would look like to build these quotes if you have the CVG manager, which will actually save all your estimates, and it integrates with this. Alright, in this example, this is using the CVG manager, and we're going to pretend somebody's calling me for a quote or a truck just rolled in. I'm not getting any personal information, I'm just going to build an estimate. So we're going to look up a vehicle. And then we're going to hit estimator here. And as you can see up here, the estimator, it was sent the information from the CVG manager, so I don't need to look it up twice. And then I can just do what I would continue to do. We'll say we're doing radiator. And I can continue to look up more labor lines, but we'll stop with this one. And then you hit transfer. Now if you come up here, you can double click. And I can see it's already put the text, it's already put the hours, give me a total, and if I was tracking, I can even assign technicians to it. After I've done more work, I can come back and add more notes in this box or to this box, and it won't mess anything up. Now since we're building a quote, we could continue more with estimating. We could do parts kits, would be a combination of parts that you want to select through. We can do canned jobs, which is a combination of parts, labors, or notes. So a DOT inspection could be one, batteries, clutches, things along those lines. A symptom is an easy way to, when you click on that, you can see here insufficient heating. If I double click, it's going to automatically add the text, charge the amount of time, and add it to my order, so I don't need to do a bunch of typing. And then if I wanted to, I can easily click on parts, and I can add in my own part here. And this program, I do have a markup as well, as you can see. So it's saying, well, if I put 250 at that 48.7, I'm going to get 487.50, and then I can hit done. And I can build the quote this way. And this is something that would work in the CVG version of the Manager SE that will connect with the ProDemand. And now that I selected I want to sell it, it's asking me to get customer and vehicle information, or at least the customer information. Vehicle's already in there, of course. And then if I hit print, it brings up this estimate here, so I can see my part, my labor, any hazmat fees, any disclaimers, warranties, signature, and date. This system will keep a record of all of these invoices. The other one will not keep a record, because this would be considered an invoice when we get it all said and done. Right now it's still an estimate. There's more to it, but this would track all the information. Now, just to make things easier, let's take a look at some of the printing functions inside the software. So this is a very long page, as you can tell by the little tiny scroll bar on the right. But what we don't want to do is then need to scroll and scroll and scroll or print 50 pages. So in the system here, you can look and you see this little print up here. It's grayed out. Well, we haven't selected any sections. So as you see these little printers along the side, they're telling you what you want to actually print. So if I was to click this one, you can see this green line here is coming down pretty far. This is how far it's going to go. Everything in there is going to get printed. And that's because I chose the whole section. If I undo that and then select this next section here, now you can see I'm printing that. So it's going to save you quite a bit of time when it comes to looking for what you're looking for afterwards, because you're only printing this one section of this whole page.